Well, hello everyone and happy Friday. Welcome to UpNorthLive Unscripted. Well, if you've got some weekend plans outside, you may need a weather report for that. Let's go ahead and bring in Ethan Foreman filling in for meteorologist Joe Charlevoix tonight. Ethan, it's been really stunning outside all week, but now as we're heading into the weekend when maybe people have been busy during the work week, they want to get outside. It's not going to be the best weather anymore for that.
No, we've had a lot of great weekends, Allie. If you want to go leaf peeping, now may be the time to do so, as we have some windy and rainy conditions on the way. Some places could see as much as 2 to 3 inches of rain this weekend, so we'll be having to keep an eye on that. That looks like it's going to be heaviest in our southern and eastern areas, but that's good because that's where we have the worst drought conditions right now. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that, and then we'll see only a little bit of sunshine Monday, and then lots of lake effect rain most of next week, as we'll see warm waters and cool air. That's why we're seeing those lake effect showers most of next week, with highs for some that are only going to be in the 40s. So a little chilly. We'll talk about that coming up in your full forecast.
All right, well, thank you, Ethan, for that preview. We're going to move along to our top story tonight. Michigan school districts have been working with this year's budget for a couple of weeks now. Now, by law, they should have had those numbers July 1st, but many say the funding for our classrooms became a political hostage in Lansing, and that left schools uncertain and unable in many cases to make plans for this school year. Tonight, superintendents and at least one state senator are saying this can't happen again. Here's Mark Schlett.
Yeah, there's no point crying over spilt milk, but let's make sure this doesn't happen again.
The school aid budget signed this week, mid-October, when Michigan law requires that's done July 1st.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. I think it's a failure of government. You know, bottom line is we literally have one constitutional job in the legislature, and that's to do the budget and to do it on time. And it's a law that we get this budget done by July 1st, and we didn't do it.
The fact they, lawmakers, didn't get the budget done left local superintendents watching the clock tick faster.
As those months, those days, those weeks tick by, becomes for a very anxious summer because we don't know.
Didn't know how much money they would have to fund their schools for the year. It's one thing to learn that number in July, with a few months to make adjustments. It's another to find out weeks into the new school year.
At least in July, we know what we have, and then we can spend the next couple of months leading up to the beginning of the school year, talking with staff, trying to rework some things.
July 1st gives them a little more time to plan and adjust programming and staffing. This year, they didn't get that. In October, when the final budget did get signed, relief, but also some surprises, they say, were hard to adjust to on the fly.
When we get things that have been in the budget for, over 15, 20 years, and then they're all of a sudden removed without any notice, it makes it very difficult to provide a continuity of jobs for the staff that we hire.
All in all, a summer most superintendents wouldn't want to experience again, and at least one senator agrees.
We need to spend the next 6 or 8 months doing nothing but making sure this doesn't happen again.
Agreeing on that, Senator DeMoose has joined a handful of intermediate school districts in declaring lawmakers need to learn a lesson from this year's stalemate.
People need to reach out. Everybody has a voice to just not let up on this drumbeat with every legislator just saying, look, guys, there are certain lines we can't cross. And one line we never want to see you cross again is missing that budget for our schools. They need to know by July 1st.
They're calling for a budget next time on time, and one that leaves schools not having to react and adapt so quickly as to what's actually included in it.
But as we look towards the next school year's budget, the 26-27 school year, we would just really want to work collaboratively with them. We know we don't make the budget. We know that. We are not going to step out of our lane, but we certainly can help inform decisions that are made about the budget.
In the meantime, a request from both of them to send a message to those who ultimately will decide if next year is in fact different.
People do have a voice. I mean, we listen when our constituents reach out and say, this is what we expect from you. And so people need to be loud about that, and our schools need to be loud about it.
And that was Mark Schlett reporting. Again, it is Michigan law that the school aid budget be finalized by July 1st. Superintendents and Senator DeMoose are urging concerned residents to speak up now and keep the pressure on lawmakers to get the job done right and on time for next year. Well, you're taking a live look now at Whitefish Point. You can see the lighthouse and also the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum. Now, in less than a month, it will be 50 years since the Edmund Fitzgerald freighter sank on Lake Superior. To honor those whose lives were lost that day, we've been meeting with people familiar with this maritime disaster for their perspective. That's where we're bringing in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, because Joe, you're on special assignment at Whitefish Point this weekend.
Yeah, I am, although I'm not there yet. We're on our way up. Behind me, that's Lake Michigan, actually. We're right by the Mackinac Bridge right now at a wayside park here on the way up. But what we're working on, Allie, is a half-hour special. As you pointed out, it is the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald 50 years ago on November 10th, 1975. With the loss of all men on that vessel. And so we've been working and putting together stories, as you mentioned, about people that know about the Fitzgerald, have been involved in it. To give you a little perspective, a week or two ago, I interviewed a gentleman who was on Whitefish Bay that night.
Oh, wow. The
night the Fitzgerald went down, they were fishing and they got stuck on a small island, Quamanon Island, which is in Whitefish Bay, and they ended up saving the lives of two people who had capsized fishing that night. That's separate from the Fitzgerald, but we have his story. He was 33 at the time. He's 83 years old now, and it's a really fascinating story. We also are going to talk more about the storm that brought down the Fitzgerald. Meteorologist Heather Bricka is doing more on that. I'm going to be up at Whitefish Point tomorrow morning early, interviewing the executive director of the Great Lakes Shipwreck Society. We're going to talk, we'll be in the museum there doing an interview and talk more about the legacy of the Fitzgerald and some of the shipping and changes in weather forecasting and everything that has happened since then. And Mark Gillette went down to Detroit to the Mariners Museum, made famous in the song by Gordon Lightfoot. We're going to have all that coming up on November 10th, a half-hour special, and that's what we're working on.
Joe, for those people who have never been up to Whitefish Point before, they've never been to that museum either, what is there that is super significant to the Fitzgerald?
Well, it's not just the Fitzgerald. That of course, is a cornerstone of the museum. They have the lighthouse there, but the museum itself has a number of relics and artifacts from shipwrecks all along Whitefish Bay. It's not just the Fitzgerald. There are literally hundreds of shipwrecks that have occurred. It's a dangerous area for ships because you get into shallower water. The weather there is sometimes terrible. And so they have a lot of different historical shipwrecks. And they also have the bell, the actual bell off the Edmund Fitzgerald. Wow. That was, I believe in 1995, I could be wrong on that, but that was taken and put in that shipwreck. So you can see the bell from the Fitzgerald there as well.
Joe, we've had obviously a number of shipwrecks on the Great Lakes, but why do you think the Edmund Fitzgerald really sticks with us?
I think because, they say there's 30,000 shipwrecks in the Great Lakes or something like that. I think, Allie, to answer that question, it's because this happened, I know 50 years ago seems like a long time, and it was 50 years ago, half a century ago. But even then, a vessel of that size of the Edmund Fitzgerald, it was thought to be kind of like the Titanic, like it's not expected to sink. And for it to roll over with really the men not even really being found in a storm on Lake Superior was kind of unheard of. And I think it's just that, and also the fact that Gordon Lightfoot, who I had the chance to meet, by the way, in 2012, that he sang the song, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, kind of really resonated with a lot of people. And a lot of people have heard that song too. And I think that's part of it also.
Joe, during your reporting, is there anything new that you've learned so far or any other questions that you're hoping to have answered that you don't have the answer to yet?
Well, I think on some of the, I don't work on an iron, boat or the freighters, but some of the weather technology, what they look at, how that has changed. Given a similar storm right now, say this happened, 2 weeks from now, would the freighter still sail into that? Are there different types of awareness of these storms? Are there more safety features on the vessels? I mean, that's something I'd be interested in finding out. I know the weather technology obviously has improved. I mean, that's what I do for a living. But it's I think that's something that I'd be interested to find out, just how that's all changed in the past 50 years.
All right, well, Joe, before you go, I have one more question for you. We're flipping the
Sure.
script here because normally you have trivia questions for us. We have one for you. This is our question of the day tonight. How far was the Edmund Fitzgerald from safety when it sank in miles? I'll give you some options here. We've got 5
Okay.
miles, 17 miles, 34 miles, or 100 miles.
I already did. That would be 17.
17?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll let everyone know if you're right or not at the end of the show. But, Joe, we're going to go ahead and let you go. We know you've got a couple more hours on your drive, but thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, I've got Mary Jane, our Petoskey Bureau reporter. She's helping me as a photographer. We're going to head to Newberry, pick up some food, and off to Paradise, and then do our interview tomorrow. So good talking to you.
Well, thank you, Joe. And say hi to Mary Jane for us, too.
I will. Okay.
All right, well, thanks to Joe for joining us tonight while up in the UP. And you can look forward to that special report in our Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald 50 years later. You can find it on our UpNorthLive YouTube page November 10th at 7 p.m. And continuing that conversation around the Edmund Fitzgerald, you heard me there ask Joe a little trivia for him, and that is our question of the day again. How far was the Edmund Fitzgerald from safety when it sank? And again, you can scan that QR code on your screen to answer just like Joe did and see if he got it correct. We've got 5 miles, 17 miles, 34 miles, or 100 miles. We've got 192 votes so far. And again, for those of you who are joining us online, you'll have another chance to scan that QR code in just a second. But moving on to some news from downstate, that's where firefighters are learning new ways to protect their communities. It's part of a week-long training session hosted by Consumers Energy. The company says it's to help first responders with utility emergencies specifically. Carter Landis has more.
First responders are always looking for ways to keep people safe. That's why they're here at the Consumers Energy Training Facility in Marshall, learning new training exercises like tower rescues. In partnership with Emergency Response Solutions International, Consumers Energy hosted a training session for first responders from across Michigan. Utility work was the focus of this training as firefighters hooked themselves up to ropes and simulated a tower rescue. Consumers says they want to partner with communities to highlight public safety.
To the extent that we can help them train and be prepared, we're really excited that we'll reduce the risk to the public in any emergency.
The training is meant for firefighters and first responders to be able to better identify utility risks and protecting against falls. Dave Van Holsten of ERS says tower rescues include all different kinds of structures, including bridges and wind turbines. If an accident happens at an electrical tower, firefighters will be prepared to handle it.
The better equipped they are, the more familiar they are with a variety of places where these emergencies can happen, the better they are. Even more so in an environment as hazardous as, say, a power transmission tower or anything to do with the electrical distribution system.
Eric Wojciechowski of Consumers Energy says as the world becomes more electronic, the need to reduce the risk to the public becomes more important.
We want to make sure that with some of the aging equipment in the field, there's a rapid response across the state, serving all of our customers and all of our assets, helping keep them safe. We want those people to be qualified, trained, and ready to respond when the emergency does happen.
That was Carter Landis reporting. Consumer says it wants to create more relationships with first responders and departments across the state so they can have more trainings like this one. Well, before we head into our next commercial break, again, for those of you joining us online, you have a chance to guess in our question of the day, how far was the Edmund Fitzgerald from safety when it sank? We do have time for a couple of answers here. Matt saying a little too far, Laura saying 17, Tina saying 15, and Tom also saying 15. We're going to go ahead and head into our first commercial break. You're watching UpNorthLive Unscripted.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Well, if you're hoping to go out and check out some of those fall colors this weekend, you may need to check the forecast because we do have some rain coming in. Well, that's what we have meteorologist Ethan Foreman here for. Ethan, if people are heading out this weekend, I know a lot of our fall colors. Oh, there's Petoskey right there. I like that one tree. That one tree stands out to me, the red tree over there. I mean, we know there's a lot more trees like that across northern Michigan right now with those beautiful colors, but if you were hoping maybe for some dry conditions to go and see them, that's not going to be the case.
No, there will be some partially dry conditions at times on Saturday, but Sunday looks to be quite a washout. So if you want to go out, I would recommend going out after 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the day.
Into the afternoon and early evening after that. It's going to be quite soggy again across the area. We will have some rain move through in the morning hours tomorrow, and we'll discuss that here in a moment. But you'll see in Petoskey we do have those beautiful fall colors out there, and those leaves are likely going to fall off in the next few days for many, as we'll be seeing that rain and that wind. Satellite and radar does show a few showers this evening into the UP and also east of I-75 in the lower peninsula. Most of us should dodge any rain for any football games tonight, but watch out for that isolated sprinkle. You do see as we head toward 12:30 in the morning, that will start to intensify a bit, and by 8:30 tomorrow morning, we'll be seeing a little bit more heavy rain possible, especially as it develops near and east of US 131 and closer to I-75 as well. That exits the region into the middle part of the day. We could even see a little bit of sunshine pop up from time to time, but it'll still be a little breezy. You'll see those in a moment, though, those winds will die down some for the afternoon and evening, and then you'll see another batch of rain Saturday evening down towards Chicago. That strengthens and moves into our area very early Sunday morning, and that's going to bring some heavy rain potential for some, so we'll be having to watch that very closely, and you'll see those winds are going to be strong as those arrows are moving quickly and are close together. That indicates we could be seeing gusts near 40 miles per hour on Sunday. And so hold on to your hats. That rain will slowly exit the region as we head into Sunday night and Monday. By Monday, we're looking at quite a bit of sunshine across the area. That's the one day, though, with a good deal of sunshine. And if you're planning on heading to the Lions and Buccaneers game like me, looking pretty good. And we'll be seeing those rainfall amounts will be highest in our southern and eastern areas, where some areas could perhaps get more than 2 inches of rain. We do need it as we are in drought conditions across the area with that moderate and severe drought for parts of the area. Tonight's forecast, we're looking at temperatures between 54 and 62, mostly dry with those showers and isolated storms developing late. And then for our Saturday, we'll see highs into the 60s for most. A few isolated showers will be possible in the UP. Scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms are possible, especially in the morning on Saturday, with highs into the mid and upper 60s to low 70s for just about everybody in the northern lower. That rain moves in for Sunday. Could be some heavy downpours with that, especially south and east. More scattered showers Tuesday, and then lake effect showers the rest of next week.
Well, Ethan, we were definitely spoiled with some pretty great weather, but we are getting some of that much needed rain, as you can see. All right, well, we are going to go ahead and head into our next commercial break. A reminder for those of you joining us online, you can vote in our question of the day. We're checking in with Sports Director Harrison Beebe. He's standing by at the Boyne City and Charlevoix game after the break. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Let's go ahead and turn things over to Sports Director Harrison Beebe, who is in Raiders territory tonight for the Boyne City and Charlevoix game. Hey, Harrison.
Yeah, Allie, it is Raider territory, although Boyne City's not too far away from here, so this is a pretty good, almost neutral site game in a sense. A rivalry that's been going on probably a lot longer than the records can even keep track to figure out how long these two have played high school football against each other. So it's usually always a fun one. It's pretty rare that it's this late in the season, so it's kind of nice that they're in separate divisions of their conference, so they don't really play each other for conference titles, but it is nice to have this one at the end of the year to kind of be a real momentum booster for the team going forward. And both these teams having pretty good seasons. Charlevoix is 7-0 entering this one. Boyne City 5-2, but played two of the toughest teams in their entire Division 6. So Boyne City doesn't have anything to be disappointed in. They can pick up a real good bounce-back win if they get a win tonight over the rival Raiders.
Well, Harrison, in this matchup throughout time, who has the winning record so far? Is it Charlevoix or Boyne City?
Just mentioned, it is tough to find the deep archives, but there's a wonderful website called michigan-football.com that gives us reporters a lot of good cheat sheet information. And according to them, the Raiders lead at 41-31 with 2 ties on the record. So ties have happened in this series before. Let's hope that's not the case tonight.
Well, Harrison, you are there, but we've got a full team tonight heading out to some different games. What are some other matchups you're looking forward to?
Cody Bear is nice enough to come in on one of his off days to help us shoot football today. He's going to be at a good one between Frankfort and East Jordan. I'm excited to see who gets the win in that game. Allie, you're heading to a pretty intriguing contest. Traverse City Central is looking for 3 straight wins, and the Trojans would love a momentum booster themselves before the big rivalry game with TC West next week. They're at home at Thurlby Field. And Ethan, our weather guy, is actually going to be en route to a game as well. Glen Lake taking on Grayling. Glen Lake, the better team record-wise, but Grayling is a few divisions up. So it's a good test for the Lakers to go up against a bigger school to see how prepared they are, as Glen Lake no doubt wants to make a run in the Division 8 postseason. Then that gets going here in a few weeks.
And Harrison, there's actually something pretty special happening down at Thurlby Field tonight as well. They are honoring one of the TC Central football teams for one of their past championships, right?
That's right. The 40th anniversary of the 85 championship team. The Trojans won a few state titles back in that time. And this is the 40th anniversary of that 85 title team. So a lot of Trojan alums will be there to check that one out.
All right, Harrison, we'll let you get back on the field, and we'll have those highlights from him tonight at 11. We're going ahead into our last commercial break. We'll be back.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Let's take results at the question of the day. How far was the Edmund Fitzgerald from safety when it sank? 29% say 5 miles, 56% say 17 miles, 13% say 34 miles, and 2% say 100 miles. And if you guessed 17 miles, you are correct. So Joe, he was correct as well. We've got a couple comments here from other people who guessed correctly. Jeff saying 17 miles from Whitefish Point, but was in Canadian water and was within 14 miles of Canada. Well, thanks so much for joining us for Up North Live Unscripted, but check back in tonight for hometown highlights on Up North Live News at 11.